Welcome to the Jobs and Work podcast. If you're like most Americans, you spend a significant amount of your time working. In fact, we spend more time at our jobs than anywhere else. But how often do we really talk about work in America? On this podcast, the Work for Change team will. Work for Change, LLC is a team of social scientists, thought leaders, and digital storytellers who dig into the critical issues affecting American workers and workplaces today. Our podcast is co-hosted by Dr. Kendra Jason and myself, Dr. Kris Maycumber. We'll also bring guests onto the show who reflect the diversity of the American workforce. We are so excited for you to join us as we lead the efforts to humanize the workplace by building dignity and equity into jobs, work, and organizations. Please subscribe to the podcast and share us with your friends and family. You can learn more about Work for Change at workforchangellc.com. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Jobs and Work. This is episode 5. And on the second Friday of every month, we have a guest featured for our series on small business owners. And today we are really excited to have our first small business owner. I'm Kris Maycumber, your co-host.
And I am Kendra Jason. And today we're talking to Coach Cry. So my friend Theresa, who we're speaking with today, I've known for a number of years, almost 15, Theresa, if you think about it. And she has started her own small business called Coach Cry. So Theresa, why don't you start by telling us about your business?
Thanks, Kendra and Kris. I really appreciate this opportunity. So I started Coach Cry because folks need life coaching and career coaching. And what I do is work with students. I work with students who are preparing to graduate, folks who are already in industry, because folks think that they know what's supposed to be on their resume. They think they know what a cover letter looks like. And often there are some tweaks and some things that can help enhance what they already have, along with doing interviewing skills. So interviewing is not like talking to our friends, which I'm glad to talk to y'all this morning, but it really is knowing and understanding who you're talking to, who's in that room, that company that you're applying to. And also, it's not just them interviewing you, you're interviewing them as well. Is that going to really be a fit for you to go into a different position, even within your own organization? So really talking folks through that process and helping them navigate interviewing skills and resume writing and cover letters.
Great. That's awesome. So I would imagine if you're working with people on, job opportunities and what's next for them, you probably have to know a little bit about a lot of different professions to be able to do that, right? So what was that process like, or what is that like for you to have to kind of get your hands into a lot of different industry and segments to help people who are going to then jump into those fields?
Lots of quiet time, lots of researching. So before I take on a client, I do a 30-minute consultation for free, just to figure out if we're going to be a fit, or if it's something that I have expertise in. So if I know I can't do it and I can't help you, I am not going to take your money just so that I can say, yep, I got another client. I really want to be able to help folks through the process. So we have that 30-minute consult for us to figure out if we're a match. And then for me to figure out, is this an industry that I can really delve into, do the research, and help you figure out how to navigate to that next step.
And what inspired you to start this business?
Wow, 2020 did a lot of things for a lot of people. I think in quarantine, folks really started to reevaluate, where am I? And now we had all this quiet time to really sit and think about next steps. Is this what I really want to do, especially in a virtual environment? Should I shift what I'm doing, right? Because a lot of our positions, it was like, how do we shift to an online environment, and what does that look like? And some folks got really good at Zooms and Microsoft and Google and all of the different platforms that we're using, and really started to think about what was next for them, if they wanted to stay where they were, and what other opportunities were available, right? So you could really look at positions out of state knowing you weren't really going to move out of state immediately. And so folks started exploring and started reaching out to me and saying, can you look at my resume again? Can you help me with my cover letter? Because I'm looking at some other opportunities. And so in 2020, I decided it was time to launch.
That's exciting. So for someone who's interested in working with you, what are some of the things they need to know ahead of time? Like in terms about your process, like how would you describe your process and how it's distinct from other life coaches?
So I'm going to be very honest. Uh, Someone on this call used to call me Frank, and it is what it is. I'm very honest, but I'm supportive. So throughout the process, if you tell me you want to be an astronaut, well, let's talk about what the process is to be an astronaut, and is that really what what you want to do? But it's going to be a supportive process, and it's going to be a consistent process. So it's not just going to be we have a one-time conversation and I let you go. No, we're going to have a consult. We're going to come up with a timeline, right? So I think that's the other difference, is that I create a timeline based on what the client says to me. In 6 months, I want to be back in school working on my graduate degree, or in 6 months, I want to move to a different position. And so we really work through what that looks like and move from that timeline backwards to figure out what are the necessary steps. And I'm going to walk through those steps. And if we need to have a conference call every Sunday at 2:00, we're going to have a conference call every Sunday at 2:00. And we're going to be consistent and get through this process. And so it's not me dictating, but it's me supporting a client through the process.
So what's
So
fascinating?
sorry, Kris. Yeah, I can really vouch for Theresa in this regard, because I'm the one who gave her the nickname Frank, because she just gives it to you straight. Years ago, she helped me get my life all the way together. Even when people thought I had all the answers and had everything together. And often a lot of us, because we are goal oriented or we're professional, we don't know who to seek out for help, right? Because, people usually come to you. I went to Theresa. And so when I needed help with things, I needed someone to say, number one, to hold me accountable, to listen to my story, to not judge me in my story. And then once she heard my story, she said, okay, this is what we're going to do. 1, 2, 3. And then I rebelled a little bit because I didn't like everything that I heard. But she said, you know what? You'll be okay. I'm going to fix you a nice home cooked meal. And we're going to keep it moving. And so if you need someone who is honest with you, who takes a caring approach, but who really doesn't allow you to just fall back, and not reach your potential, then you probably don't want to work with Theresa, because Theresa is going to be honest with you. She's going to help you be honest with yourself so that you can honestly move forward. And really, you're not going to move forward unless you get really honest with yourself. And that's something that I think Theresa is divinely gifted in. Kris, I cut you off earlier.
But to be frank, you don't cook for everybody, right? That's not like a thing. Right?
I was like, now she gonna have the people coming around saying, "Where's my meal?"
Opened up
twice baked potatoes. I will never forget them.
The twice baked potatoes are still like requested by the family. That's a whole separate small business that I have.
Hey, you can run with that one too.
Okay, so the other business is called My Sugar. Because I do a lot of baking. Kendra knows my heart. I thought I was going to go to culinary school and my dad wouldn't let me, but that's a topic for another day. But it is still something that I'm very much passionate about. Some of my coaching clients have ordered baked goods from me. So yeah, it's still a thing. It is still a thing. Kendra, you almost got me to tear up there when you were talking, but I appreciate that compliment. It is what it is. I got sticky notes all around me right now with lists. If you don't write things down, because it's one thing to say, this is what I want to do, and it's in my head, and I'm good. No, if we don't write it down and make it really, really plain and have a plan, half of the things that are in your mind, think of all of the things that you do in a day. You're not going to remember things. You're going to push things to the side because they're just going to leave you. And so you have to write it down. You have to make a plan, and you have to have somebody to hold you accountable. And I'm not going to allow you to just say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Why aren't we doing that? Do we change our plan? What are we doing now? But yeah, I'll bake for some local people with the My Sugar business.
That's awesome. I love that. So something I'm interested in, Theresa, is, every job has the spillover, which is like, what we signed up to do, what's in our job description, and then all the stuff that just kind of bubbles up with clients along the way.
Mhm.
So I'm anticipating, like, I would imagine some of this, that there's a lot of that for you because you're dealing with people who might be stressed out or nervous or anxious. So like, what's some of the other things that kind of come up that might be outside of what you do as a life coach?
So a lot of what I've been doing has been career coaching, which spills into life coaching because I just don't think you can separate those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really been doing a lot of recommendations in terms of meditation. These are some books that you may want to read that will help you with your anxiety. These are some things that you may want to do to kind of calm yourself or center yourself. And so, yes, we were talking about your resume and we were talking about your cover letter and interviewing skills, but there's some other things that are bubbling up that are preventing you from moving forward, which have more to do with personal things and life things. And so how can I help you in that regard? And so I am a bookie. I'm an avid reader. I still purchase actual hard copy books to read and highlight and again, have sticky notes. And so when clients come to me and those things start bubbling up, I make recommendations to them about, hey, let's talk about this. Perhaps therapy is another answer because some things bubble up and you're like, whoa, that's beyond the book you need to read. And so making some recommendations to really, I am a avid proponent of folks going to therapy and really dealing with some of their other issues that I'm not licensed to deal with.
Wow, that sounds like such a great comprehensive service, right? And I would imagine within that too, like a counselor, like you said, the career coaching, but then you have, the fact that you're a career coach and life coach like that it's not separate for you and that people get both of those, which I think is really, really powerful. So that sounds awesome.
What are some of the main challenges that you've noticed that your clients have been having more recently that they come to you about?
Wow. Fear. There's a lot of fear right now. What's going to happen, right? 2020 just took everybody for a loop. None of us have been through anything like it. And what does that look like in particular for, I'm saying young people, like I'm not still young, I'm still young. For young people who are graduating from college, what does this look like? And I thought I wanted to move away, but can I move to that state or that country? Or what is it that I can do? And really trying to talk them through, we really got to get together in this virtual environment first and master this because maybe you aren't going to physically move, but you still can go for that job, right? You can still apply for that job that's in another state. And eventually when the world opens back up and we can start moving around, you will go to that place. But be in a virtual environment, apply and do what you can do virtually.
Right. How has the virtual environment shaped how you do your work? Like what's different? Well, you started it virtually, right? So you haven't done it. So how do you think it has sort of shaped how you started it? And what do you look forward to when we're no longer in a virtual environment in terms of your work?
I think it's allowed me to talk to people all over the place, quite honestly. And I wouldn't have been able or even thought about it, I think. Oh, I can talk to somebody that's in Texas and help coach them. Or I can talk to somebody in DC and help coach them. So we don't have those physical, I have to travel and I have to get set up somewhere for a weekend and come meet with you outside of my regular 9-to-5 job. It really just opens up the world. I think this was a blessing in disguise so that we could kind of expand our horizons and figure out I can do more in this space than I could if I had to physically move around. So while I'm looking forward to the world opening up so I can travel, I'm actually enjoying being able to talk to more people and spend more time in this virtual space.
I mean, that is huge. Being able to connect to people who you would otherwise not be able to, I think is one of the sort of positives. That location is no longer a, hindrance. And I think that's really great. So when things do kind of open back up, you'll still be able to do Zoom, like Zoom or whatever platform people use is not going to necessarily go anywhere. So you'll have the option, to be face-to-face or do the virtual, which is exciting. Yeah.
And I think it's really great that you're starting your business in the midst of the transformation, the transition, if you will, because a lot of people, it takes them a little bit longer. I mean, to switch jobs, to graduate and actually look for a job, there's a lot of in that. And a lot of people don't feel like they can afford to take risks right now due to the effects of COVID-19 and maybe other personal issues that they have going on. So it may take them a little bit longer to get to you or to make that jump, but you're already in it and you're already forward thinking. And so, you know, when they're ready, which they should be ready now, I always say, do it before you're ready. You know, don't wait until you're ready, because, you know, that time may never come by your own judgment. So I encourage people to reach out to you now. So what is next on the horizon for Coach T. Cry?
Oh goodness, what's next? So this summer I will start rolling out packages for high school students and families.
Okay.
I have been in higher education now for almost 20 years and learned quite a bit in admissions and financial aid. And so really trying to navigate this in a virtual environment with schools becoming test flexible, test optional, and what is that really going to look like moving forward. So I will be expanding my services to work with those high school students and families to really help them navigate. Because again, even if you're not a first generation student, what that process looks like now is not what it looked like when your parents may have gone to school 15, 16, 17 years ago. And so that is what is next for me. So I'm excited about this summer and expanding those services and working with more families.
Oh my gosh, starting at the high school level. That
pipeline, and I'm working on a book. That's a whole other thing. And yeah, because I just have time. But that's a whole other thing. And quite honestly, it starts before high school, and that'll be talked about in the book. But I'll be working with some high school students and families this summer, and then the book will roll out, and I'll probably end up with some middle schoolers at that point.
Well, we look forward to having you back on to talk about the book when that rolls out. That's really cool. I have a question, if we could just do one more question. So for people who maybe want to start their own business because they have a passion, whatever it is they love to do, but there's something holding them back, and it's that I don't want to manage a business. I don't know about the mechanics or the logistics and the fair piece that might keep people feeling intimidated. So what's your advice as someone who took that step about owning your own business that you would want people to know about how to do that?
Sit down and write down your plan. What is your business going to do? Who is your target audience? You got some great resources here that you can reach out to Kris and Kendra to get some assistance with guiding you. But I agree with Kendra in that don't keep saying it's not time. Do it before. You don't have to get ready. Go ahead and do it, because this idea has been in my head for years. And I made excuses about, I'm so busy. I'm doing this. Oh, I'm moving again. Oh, I'm doing that. It will always be something. So just go ahead and get it done. It's always going to be something. So just go ahead, write it out, and get with folks who can help you. You don't always have to do it by yourself. Surround yourself with people who are going to help you, and also remove people who are hindrances. Those naysayers, bye. Get them away from you, because you don't need that type of energy. So that was very helpful to be quarantined, because I didn't have to deal with a whole lot of people.
And if you want to work with Theresa, you can reach her through her website. It is a beautiful website, CoachTCry.com. She has some contact information. She has her services on there. You can book with her so that you can get that free consultation, so that you can get your own journey started. And so I do want to thank Theresa for being here and spending her her morning with us. But I also want to extend a part of the conversation. One thing that I love that Coach T. Cry, she does is that, again, we have professional goals, but we have to work on ourselves first. And so with Work for Change, that's the business that Kris and I have. We have a workshop called Starting Your Own Business Workshop. It's a 2-part workshop. And in the first part, it's all about self-assessment, recognizing those challenges, barriers, motivations that you have to start your own business, no matter how big or how small. And then in the second part, as Theresa suggested, it's all about writing it down. It's all about the nuts and bolts of a business plan. So we go through the entire process, removing those barriers and then making it plain so that you can move forward. And so you can find out more about our workshop and Work for Change at work4changellc.com. You can find us on all the social media platforms. We are on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course, you found us here on YouTube. I want to thank Theresa, Coach T. Cry, again for spending her morning with us. And please like and subscribe to our social media platforms so we can work to make the world of work better.